so I will share my sounds. And actually, let's get started. If it feels okay, let's get started in hands and knees right away. So we're gonna kind of like skip a seat, but don't worry, I'll make sure that we have our stillness at the end, or our time for stillness at the end. So as you start on hands and knees in tabletop pose, as always, find your foundation. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Press down through the pads of your fingers. Maybe you have a little bit of added weight on top. So fun. And while you're at it, while you have that added little bit of load, you can send, if you want, your right leg behind you. Let it float hip height or tuck your toes onto the ground. Now notice right away, does your low back want to start to arch even more? Try not to let it too much. So think about the sides of your waist wrapping in and up towards the front of your ribs. And then if you want an added challenge, maybe your left hand reaches forward away from that. Take a breath in, a breath out. One more inhale, just to stay right here. And then send your left hand back down. Right knee comes back to meet the left. And if you want a round of cat-cow, go for it. Then you can drop the belly, lift the chest. And then exhale to round, press your upper back to the sky, drop your head. And then come back to neutral. And then you just switch to the other side. Send the left leg behind you. Straight back if you can for this first round. And you might even reach your right hand forward. So those like opposing forces, think of your body like the letter X. And then draw that energy from your middle, like right in the middle of that letter X. Take one more breath in. Can you feel your left glutes work a little more? And then set everything back down. Tabletop, one round of cat-cow, lift your heart, breathe in. Exhale to round. Back to neutral. And just to give your wrists a break, you can walk them up your thighs, come up onto your knees, interlace your fingers right in front of your face, and then press your palms together and make that infinity symbol nice and slow with your knuckles, right? Tracing that like figure 8. Just moving the wrists in all directions. And then keep them clasped. Reach your hands overhead. Take a breath in right here, get a little bit longer. And then as you exhale, take that right in front of your face, but keep your arms long. And can you squeeze the shoulder blades together just a little bit more? And then keep that long line out through the crown of your head, tip it back to the point where you feel your quads start to work a little bit more. And it may not just like be an inch, and that's okay. Take a full breath in. Big breath out, soften something. And then release the clasp, reach the arms up and overhead as you rise back up. And then walk your hands back forward. And tuck your toes under. Send your hips up and back, downward facing dog, but you can keep the knees nice and bent. Maybe you pedal out the feet. Start to feel a little more of a stretch in the calf muscles. Hopefully it's nice and productive. You can shake the head yes, shake the head no. Take a breath in, rise up to your toes, and then again, drop your knees back down. Find cow pose, lift your heart, breathe in. Maybe even lift your chin, lift your face. And then exhale, press into your hands, round your back, drop your head, cats. Come back to neutral. And then again, send your right leg behind you, let it float. Maybe left hand forward. Take a breath in. And then if you want, start to send your left hand over to 10 o'clock. Like if your body was a clock, 10 o'clock. And then your right leg to 5 o'clock. Notice how that starts to turn on the right glutes in a different way. Take one more breath in, you've got it. And then come back to center, set everything back down. A round of cat-cow if you want. Breathe in, breathe out. Back to neutral, send your left leg behind you. So we do it all on the other side. Right arm forward. Maybe not the most fun, but find the middle right here. And then send right hand out to like 2 o'clock. Left leg, 7 o'clock. Take a breath in, breath out. Take it one more. Inhale, full inhale. You got it. And then send it back to center. Tabletop pose. So not only do you feel that in like the core, in the glutes, in the legs, you also feel it in the arms. So walk the hands up your thighs again. Reach the arms up and overhead this time. So a little different. And then as you exhale, bend through the elbows, find goalposts with the arms. Now take a breath in, send the back of your arms, your elbows, your hands back behind you, a little back bend. And then exhale, bring the forearms together in front of your face. And then bring your thumbs to the center of your heart. Can you lift your sternum up towards your thumbs? Maybe even lift the face, a little bit of a back bend. Take a breath in and a breath out. Step your right foot forward, just into a lunge. Now, if you have a block, you can bring it to the inside of your right foot to any height, doesn't really matter. But you'll find this lunge, take a breath in, reach both arms up overhead, and then hook the thumbs rather, and take the elbows nice and wide, a little back bend here again, breathe in. And then exhale, release. Bring your hands down. You'll keep your left hand on that block. Wiggle walk the right foot a little bit wider. So you're in like a lizard, but with a wider stance, a little wider stance, move room for the hips. Now start to rock the hips forward. And if you want a slight twist, you can look over to the right. Now you can stay here, or if you want a little bit more of a stretch in the front of that left hip and the quad, and you can reach your right hand towards the top of your foot. Now, the goal is not to like catch the foot, right? If you have it, awesome. Maybe you draw it toward the foot towards you a little more. We'll do this in a few different shapes. So take one more breath in. And then exhale, release. Take your hands inside your foot and pull your hips back slightly, or enough to just pick up your right toes off the mat, that half split shape. You get that stretch again in the back of the leg. And then start to rock back forward, bend into your right knee. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee up. Spin the heel down, rise up to warrior two, keeping your right knee bent. And then we'll flow just a little bit with breath. So inhale, straighten the legs, reach the arms up and overhead. And then exhale, sink back down, warrior two, bending into your right knee. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, rise up. And then exhale, sink back down. Last one, breathe in. And exhale, you sink. Now rise up. On the inhale, parallel the feet. And then exhale, fold. Letting the head drop. Shake it, yes. Shake it, no. Maybe open and close the mouth a few times. Soften the jaw. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. Reach the top of your head further forward. Take a breath in. And then start to turn your heels in, your toes out. Bend your knees. So you can wiggle walk the feet to a point where that feels good. And then start to bring your forearms inside the thighs or on top of the thighs, like slightly drawing in. Now take a breath in. Think like cow pose. You'll send your heart forward. And then as you exhale, dip your left shoulder forward, look over to the right. You stretch in the inside of the thighs, the adductors, and then inhale to come back up through center, and then dip your right shoulder down, look over to the left. Inhale back through center, and then hands to your thighs, slowly rise, nice and slow, and then just step to the top of your mat. Arms down along your sides, palms forward, shrug the shoulders, breathe in. Open your mouth, clear it out. Let it soften. Now heel toe the feet about hips width distance apart, and then start to sit back into chair pose. So as you sit back into chair pose, start to send the weight into the left foot. We're going to play with a figure 4 cross. So you'll cross the right ankle right above the left knee. Keep sending that right knee wide, and then sit back like you were sitting in a chair, like you're hinging at the hips. Try not to round. See if you can keep sending your heart forward. And then one hand can come to your knee, one hand to the bottom of your foot. If you have a wall nearby, sometimes it's awesome for stabilization. And then find your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. And then you'll stand up. If you want, you can hug that right knee towards your chest and set it back down. Again, arms down along your sides. Shrug your shoulders as you inhale. Open your mouth as you exhale. And then on your next breath in, reach your hands up and overhead. Maybe even look up. And then soften through the knees, fold forward. Take a halfway lift, breathe. You'll plant your hands down, step back to downward facing dog. And if you need to, shake the hips side to side. And you'll rise up to your toes, breathe in. Drop your knees down, tabletop pose. Take a breath in to lift through the heart, and then a breath out to round. Come back to neutral and send your left leg behind you. Let it float. Now this time, start to bend your left knee. And then maybe if you want a little bit of a challenge, it's a balance, but it's also a stretch. Your right hand can maybe fish for your right foot, your left foot. Right hand, left foot. And then maybe you start to find a little bit of a stretch here. You can think about your left heel coming towards your left glutes. Think about the center of your body being that point where you balance. And then you can move your knee just slightly to find that space where you get that stretch. And then gently release it. Come back to tabletop pose and find lateral movement side to side. So that C curve, bending right ribs to the right, left ribs to the left, in both directions. And start to walk your hands back towards your legs, up your thighs. You'll rise. Reach hands overhead. Take a breath in. And then bend the elbows wide like goalposts. So like before, inhale, send the back of your hands, your arms slightly behind you, lift the face. And then exhale, bring forearms together in front of your face. Thumbs to your sternum, and then lift your sternum up. A little bit of a back bend, and then you'll come back to neutral. Step your left foot forward. Reach your hands up and overhead, but this time hook the thumbs. Elbows go wide. Finding that stretch in the back, or the strength in the back rather. And then bring your hands down. Right hand can come to that block. Wiggle walk your left foot a little bit wider. Hand can come to your knee, and you might even look over to the left to twist. Stay here, or you can start to slightly dip your hips forward a little. So you come onto that space in front of your kneecap. Try not to be right on the kneecap, and you can bend that right knee. Maybe you reach back for the foot. That's like a deep, deep stretch in the right side. Sometimes just reaching for it is enough. Take one more breath in. Gently release. Wiggle walk that foot in. Release the hands. Bring them down. So you can tuck those back toes and lift the knees. Spin the heel down. Rise up to warrior two. You're almost there. You get to straighten the legs on the inhale, reach arms overhead. And then exhale to sink back down, warrior two. Use this time to move with breath. 2 more rounds. Inhale, rise. Exhale, you sink back down. Full inhale, try not to rush it. And exhale, you sink. And straighten the legs, parallel the feet. Fold forward. Let that feel good. Soften through the knees. Maybe even rock your weight side to side. Again, let gravity do work. Shake the head, yes or no. And whenever you're ready, heels in, toes out. Again, forearms to your inner thighs. Maybe you stay here, or your hands press onto the top of your thighs and you lift your chest up. Your choice. Take a breath in to lift the heart a little. And then as you exhale, dip your left shoulder forward, look over to the right. Different sort of stretch, right? Inhale back through center. And then your right shoulder dips forward, look to the left. Inhale back through center. Straighten the legs, parallel the feet, reach the hands high. And then just step to the top of your mat. Mountain pose for a moment. Take a breath in on 2 feet. Open your mouth, soften the face. Sit back into chair pose, and you might start by bringing your hands to your heart for balance, because you'll shift your weight to the right foot. So then you can find that figure 4 cross. See if you can flex the left ankle, right? The left foot is active as you sit back. And sometimes it helps with balance, bringing one hand to the foot, one hand to the knee. And then finding your breath. You're not here long, just here for 2. Feeling the strength of the right hip, right? But also the stretch of the left. Last one. Start to stand up if you want. You can hug that left knee in towards your chest. And then set the left foot back down, palms forward as you shrug the shoulders. Breathe in. Again, mouth open to soften. Reach arms up and overhead. You'll rise. And as you exhale, fold forward. Take a halfway lift here. Breathe in to lengthen. You'll place your hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Any movement you're craving, maybe a rock side to side. You'll rise up to your toes and drop to your knees, tabletop. One breath in to lift your heart into cow. And a breath out to round into cat pose. Drop your head. And just start to make your, oh, I almost forgot. Send your left leg back. Everyone's favorite, right? Right hand forward. Let it float. And then it's that balance here. You'll bend your left knee. Actually, switch that up. Right leg back. There you go. Left hand forward. So many rights and lefts. Bound to mess them up. Bend your right knee. And then you can reach your left hand, maybe to the top of your foot. And it might take a little bit of maneuvering to get it. Maybe you just find the action of reaching like you did when you were in the lunge. And that's enough. Take a breath in and a breath out. One more inhale and then gently release. Take your knees a little bit wider, your big toes together, and send your hips back. And walk your fingertips forward and let your forehead rest. Child's pose. You might even start to rock your head slowly side to side. And start to come out of it. Swing your legs around. Make sure you have enough space behind you. And take your legs out in front of you. Give them a little bit of a shake. And you'll slowly make your way onto your back. And start to point your toes forward. Right away, you might even start to notice how that stretches like the tops of your feet. And then reach your arms overhead. Find a long body stretch here. And take your arms down along your sides. Bend your knees. Plant your feet just for a moment. Lift your right leg up towards the sky. Just your right leg lifts. You might even grab behind your right leg and interlace your fingers there. And then take active rolls of that right ankle, both directions. Fan out the toes. Create a little more space. And you get to bend that back knee back and send it towards your chest. Hug it in. And set your right foot back down on the ground. And then you'll do the same with the other leg. Hug the left knee in for a moment. Grab underneath the leg or behind the leg to then send that leg up towards the sky. Roll the ankle. Notice what happens when we do. It's like all those muscles along our shin, even in our calf, respond. And start to bend your knee, maybe hug that knee back into your chest. And you'll set the left foot back down. Now, making your way to rest, either take your arms down along your sides, bring them to your hands, kind of your belly, whatever feels restful. And you can even wiggle walk your feet wide and knock your knees together, or take your legs long onto the ground. And close your eyes. And take a breath in. Slow exhale out. Start to find subtle movement in the fingers and the toes. You can again rock your head side to side. And start to bend your knees. Roll to the side of your choice. And you'll press yourself up to find a seat. Once you're there, sit up nice and tall. Take a big breath in to fill all the way up. Maybe even open up your mouth to slowly let the breath empty you out. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. You might even bow your chin, your face towards that space. And just honoring yourself for just showing up to create a little more space in your day so you can create space in your body, maybe even space in between your thoughts. Remembering this practice is a time where you can create a little more kindness as well towards yourself, so you can share that kindness in your own way with others around you. Namaste.